What's good, y'all? So doing something a little different to stimulate the algorithm for little perks that come with doing vertical streams. So this is my first vertical stream since the Super Bowl. I don't know if you guys watched the Super Bowl with me, but that was the last time I was vertical. We had people over, and I watched the Super Bowl and kind of did the analysis, from my phone. But actually, we got some interesting stuff to look at today. And full disclosure, I was in the gym and I saw alerts come down about collusion, and I saw Lamar's name, and I saw others. Like, well, what's going on? I saw Pablo Torre. Like, finally, I beat Florio to get this exclusive. What's the thing? This exclusive report. So, with that being said, that's what we're going to talk about today, because it's a lot of crap in this, and I'm just going to break it down the best way I can from what I got from Pablo Torre and Mike Fiorio. And so that's what we're going to do. I'll put them above my head and their audio, and then from there we'll go into kind of breaking down what they're talking about in each segment. So again, appreciate you guys coming through. If you're already in here, hit that like button and let's get started.
But what the NFLPA did in 2022.
Keep in mind, all this stimulated from Deshaun Watson's guaranteed deal. So let's get started. Turn my volume up here. That's up. That's up. I think the first part may be a little low, and then it's gonna pick up once I realize I was recording it low.
Was alleged that the NFL's overall aversion to guarantees was no coincidence. The union argued, in fact, that it was the product of collusion, meaning that billionaire team owners had illegally conspired with the league office against almost 600 veteran players.
Now, it says against 600 veteran players, but in this report, there are three main culprits. It's Lamar Jackson, who we have vested interest in, Kyler Murray, and Russell Wilson. And we all know how that drama went down with Russ and them giving him an ultimatum, like, you either going to sit or accept this contract, or we going to get rid of you in Denver and all that jive. So just Pablo went deep and found something that nobody really wants to know. And there's a lot of twists and turns to this crap too, especially after sitting here watching it and breaking it down for the past hour or so.
And early in this document, it turns out, we are pointed to a closed-door meeting that the NFL held in March 2022. And what
a closed-door meeting that the NFL held in March of 2022, shortly after Deshaun Watson signed that unheard of deal.
Subsequently happened to three-star quarterbacks in particular.
Lamar Jackson, first and foremost, Kyler Murray, and Russell Wilson, none of whom received fully guaranteed contract.
And all of them was right. They were on deck after Deshaun got his contract. All three of those guys were right on deck for, hey, next in line to, because normally the normal NFL routine is, and for example, and I'll use some people in the chat. Let's just say I sign my deal as a quarterback for $100 million. Clock, if he next on deck, he gonna sign his for 102. Killer Cam will sign his for 104. Storm and Norman will be 106. Dre from Hawaii be 108. That damn Dub will be 110. And that's normally how it goes. You just kind of one up the next one up the next one. But with the guaranteed money, the owners were like,
And you mentioned the only.
The owners was like, no, we got to put a stop to this. Let's see what else they talked about, because we assumed it was collusion. Pablo went and found a lot more evidence.
Yes. To quote the owner of the Falcons, Arthur Blank, at the time, quote, "The fact that it's $80 million above the highest contract ever given, guaranteed in the history of the league that's 102 years old, says a lot. Whether or not most teams in the NFL or any other team would have committed to that, I don't know. Ever given, guaranteed."
Now, with that on the screen, it says the fact that Deshaun's contract was $80 million above the highest contract ever guaranteed in the history of the league, that's 102 years old, says a lot. That right there lets you know, and this is from Arthur Blank, that they wasn't going for this guarantee stuff. Once Deshaun got that first one, it was like, nah, we got to figure something out. And again, it was all speculation, and we as fans kind of assumed that, especially after the way Lamar and others were treated, mainly Lamar for us. We assumed it, but it wasn't nothing documented that can say, hey, these guys got together and said X, Y, Z, or let's not do this, or let's make sure ain't no guaranteed contracts. There was never really any hard proof. It was all speculation by probably almost all of the NFL. But let's continue. Take this one down.
But to just walk people who are not lawyers through what happens here is that the arbitrator, this is an arbitration case, the arbitrator decided to initiate one of the most terrifying legal processes known to mankind, the thing that everyone fears would occur.
And we know when you have an arbitrator, that person is normally supposed to not have interest on one side or the other and supposed to look at stuff down the line and come to a best case scenario for both sides. That's what the arbitrator's supposed to do. He's supposed to not be in line with Team X, not be aligned with Team Z, and just look at the facts and make a judgment based off the facts. That's what an arbitrator's supposed to do.
Comes to why or why not we should get into any of this litigation, because that process, Mike, is known as what?
Expedited discovery, allowing the NFLPA to examine records and notes and slides for presentations and emails and text, and it is an exhaustive process. And Pablo,
Now that's something I didn't know of. The expedited, whatever he said, which that allows the NFLPA to go look at all the stuff he just outlined. And I'll play it again real quick.
allowing the NFLPA to examine records and notes and slides for presentations and emails and text, and it is an exhaustive process.
And keep in mind, you know, I'm preluding a little bit. Just keep in mind that slides for presentations. That's going to come back and show up here in just a second.
Pablo, I know from my 18 years of practicing law, you have to have a level of discipline and focus as you are looking at page after page after page, because you never know where the needle will be in the haystack. And bottom line.
But to just walk people.
And I cut that one off a little bit early, but Florio said right after that sentence, the NFL had a bunch of needles in this haystack. And so there was a bunch of stuff in here that probably they didn't want out, and then they probably used to benefit them because the NFLPA didn't want out. But again, this is some scandal type stuff from the TV show Scandal. Let's just keep going. Let's just keep going.
In March 2022, a very crucial month in this story, as we'll see.
Everyone's there. All of the coaches, all of the general managers, all of the owners, executives with the teams, executives with the league, media is there, agents are there.
And what he's talking about when he say they're there, the NFL owners meeting that they normally have in South Florida, everybody's there. All coaches, all owners, all executives, media. Basically, the NFL brass is in this one location for the NFL owners meeting, and that's where a lot of stuff get done there. Apparently, some stuff that secretly gets done there as well. But let's keep going.
Making it kind of like an Illuminati gathering that also has limited press availability, which is how a Ravens beat reporter who was there to cover the looming Lamar Jackson negotiations got a quote from the team's owner, Steve Bisciotti, about the Watson trade that had just gone down literal days before. And that quote promptly got read on the local news.
Y'all remember this? I know we do. All of us that are legit Ravens fans, we definitely remember this from Jeff.
It's like, damn, I wish they hadn't guaranteed the whole contract. I don't know that he should have been the first guy to get a fully guaranteed contract. To me, that's something that is groundbreaking, and it'll make negotiations harder with others, including Lamar Jackson. But it doesn't necessarily mean that we have to play the game. You know, we shall see.
Again, this is from our owner saying this. We don't have to play this game. Where in any part of negotiating contract for generational wealth of my family is a freaking game? It's serious business. Serious business. No part of me trying to maximize my earnings in a sport that could be over with at any one play is a game.
But what I didn't know until reading this 61-page document is that the very same day that Steve Bisciotti gave that quote in Palm Beach, he had also attended a presentation. A secret slideshow presentation from a shadowy but extremely important organization known as the NFLMC.
The NFLMC. I never heard of it until this. And keep in mind, it's a secret slideshow presentation for the owners only. Owners only.
The NFLMC is the NFL Management Council, and that is the group that ostensibly provides advice and suggestions to the 32 teams on how to potentially weather these storms, whether they be temporary or permanent shifts in the.
Now, Florio did say after this, when I cut it off, that they always end their suggestions with, "It's up to you to do what you feel is best for your team." That Florio did say that. He says that the NFLMC Management Council always ends their statements with, "It's up to you to do what's best for your team." Wink, wink. It's like your boss coming in and saying, hey, you know, you should make sure you have the reports done by the end of the day. But if you don't, you know, it's up to you if you do or don't. But you might want to have them by the end of the day. That's kind of what's going on here in a roundabout way. Let's keep it going.
And what the expedited discovery would reveal here is that after the
And talk about expedited discovery. If you're just tuning in, that's where the NFLPA can go in and look at a bunch of different information from the NFL brass to see like what's going on.
Deshaun Watson deal was signed, Commissioner Roger Goodell himself began emailing his general counsel, Jeff Pash, about specific notes at the NFLMC's 45-minute presentation to all 32 owners.
The secret 45-minute presentation to all 32 owners. Well, it was a secret.
Should make sure to hit. I just want to take you inside the room here for a second, if you can imagine it.
So what Pablo said is Roger Goodell sent a memo to all 30, sent a memo to the NFLMC saying hit these points in your presentation. These points need to definitely be hit in your presentation.
Because imagine you're going into a presentation. Your bosses, in some regard, the people who are at the front of the room, have slides. There's a PowerPoint deck. And these notes that have been massaged and edited and deliberated upon by Roger Goodell and his general counsel, that have been written into the slides themselves, are the things that they would like the presenters to verbally relay.
Exactly. So basically, he's telling the NFL MC, put this in your PowerPoint, make sure you talk about it, and make sure they get it. That's what it is in regular folks' terms.
For instance, slide 17, quote, If guarantees continue to grow in both amount and number of players, then there's a risk that they become the norm in contracts, regardless of player quality. That not only has the potential to hinder roster management, but set a market standard that will be difficult to walk back. Of course, all clubs must make their own decisions, but continuing these trends can handcuff a club in the future.
All right. This is the first initial thing of, hey, these guaranteed contracts, shit ain't gonna work. Don't keep doing it. Just long story short, these guaranteed contracts, don't do them, because it's gonna affect everybody's bottom line. That's where it is. And so again, they still end by saying, of course, all clubs can make their own decisions, but continuing these trends can handcuff a club in the future. Code it, but do what I tell you to do. That's what that says to me. And we need to get together and make sure this don't happen again. That's what I'm getting from this so far.
End quote.
What we're seeing is the effort better stop this or we're going to have a problem.
And now, by the way, we mentioned that Robert Kraft, owner of the Patriots, who's a member of the NFLMC's.
Aren't there guaranteed? Yeah, it's guaranteed contracts in baseball and NFL, Tommy. It's guaranteed contracts in baseball and and NBA. I said that wrong. It's guaranteed contracts in baseball and NBA.
We're going to have a problem.
And now, by the way, we mentioned that Robert Kraft, owner of the Patriots, who's a member of the NFLMC's executive council, he was asked about this by the investigators, and Kraft testified, quote, he did not recall talking about the growth of signing bonuses and guarantees at the owners' meeting.
Lie. Straight up lie. Secret meeting, 32 owners, PowerPoint slides, closed doors. But he was in South Florida, so he might have been doing other stuff like he used to do down there, but bold-faced lie.
End quote. Falcons owner Arthur Blank testified that he did hear it, but that, quote, hearing the presentation did not cause him to reduce guarantees for his team. End quote. Meanwhile, John Mara, the owner of the Giants, testified, quote,
So, I'm preluding. John Mara's quote, the Giants owner's quote, throws that crap that Kraft said out the door. Just completely out the door.
Thought of me calling Jerry Jones or somebody and asking him not to guarantee Dak Prescott's contract or somebody else's contract, he would laugh at me. Among other choice words, I'm sure. Just the whole notion is ridiculous. And the thought that I'm going to be influenced by what another owner is saying to me is just absurd. End quote.
If you look at John
Mara just put out to bed what Robert Kraft tried to say. Like, why would I call Jerry Jones and say, hey, Jerry, this your biggest competition. Don't guarantee that contract because it's going to mess up the whole league. Jerry going to look at him like, the fuck? Hang up. This is my quarterback. Y'all know Jerry Jones ain't going for that at all. But him saying this lets me know, and I assume lets everybody know that, yes, all of them was paying attention to that thing. Robert Kraft just got selective amnesia. That's what I'm getting from there. Robert Kraft got selective amnesia, and he don't want to let you know that he heard what he didn't claim to hear. Let's keep rolling.
Trader, citing even more presentation notes uncovered in this expedited discovery, reached a clear conclusion about this.
It's from the arbitrator now.
Because what he says is, quote, the NFLMC's message was not purely educational and informational as the NFL contends. It unmistakably encouraged the owners to reduce the trend of increasing player guarantees.
Ding, 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 ding. This is from an independent source, independent arbitrator. That's straight down the middle. That's saying this 45-minute whatever slideshow, secret slideshow, was not purely educational and informational. It was to encourage the reduction of player guarantees. To encourage the reduction of player guarantees. So all this crap they talking about, yeah, we for the players. No, you for your pockets. You for your pockets. And again, as bad as this is, this S word gets deeper to the point where at the end of this, I'm gonna call two people a name that ain't really polite to call, but they getting it today.
End quote. And I will also further note that Roger Goodell had said in that email I was referring to with his general counsel, Jeff Pash, that when it comes to the rise of guaranteed contracts for star players, there was, quote, a big concern.
A big concern with the rise of guaranteed contracts with star players. All this, remember, transpired after Deshaun got his guaranteed deal. Next up on the list was Lamar, Kyler, Russell, Joe Burrow, all these, Josh Allen, all these big Herbert out in Los Angeles. All these contracts was about to come up. They was about to come up, and the owners were like, "And forget this. We got to do something."
End quote. And I want to further quote from this, Mike. Goodell says, quote, "If we wait to see how it falls, it will be too late to counter."
It's if we wait and see, so basically, if we let these guarantees go on and then we try to counter later on, it's gonna be too late because the player's going to have leverage. They're gonna have leverage. Hold on, I'm looking at that I didn't see earlier. Okay, that's nothing I want to talk about.
The things that were
conclusion that the arbitrator drew. Quote, "There is little question that the NFL Management Council, with the blessing of the commissioner, encouraged the 32 NFL clubs to reduce guarantees in veterans' contracts at the March 2022 annual owners meeting," end quote.
There it is. From a independent, non-biased source, that meeting was not to be informational or to show different things. It is to make sure that players don't have guarantees, or as many guarantees in their contract, especially not a fully guaranteed contract like Deshaun Watson. But we're going to get to the Lamar part here in a minute. Just hang tight, because you need to get all of this to see it. Why Florio got to be a bum when he telling the truth? He went and got information that we all needed. So him being a bum ain't got nothing to do with this.
And now I will maybe draw, perhaps, hopefully, an obvious thought. And this was articulated to me by a union source. Quote, "This is almost like the holy grail for the union. Here's 61 pages of gory details about how the league really works, thanks to an independent judicial arbitrator. You should be screaming about this from the high heavens."
So what he's saying is, because of all this information that has came out, why doesn't the NFLPA use this as firepower to get more leverage on the owners when, whenever the next meetings or whatever come up for them for the labor stuff? Well, now this is when this crap starts to go real tricky, and we went through a situation in this household where, following something that's close and dear to my wife, and some of the stuff I'm about to show you looks eerie similar to some things that we just went through as far as watching transpire in this household. So let me get to it. We normally don't have drama like this.
And
in
the
sports,
answer to the question of why was this document suppressed?
Again, why was it suppressed? NFLPA, this is a win for you to show that they colluding. So why nobody heard about this?
Why was this document suppressed? It's not merely the story of the NFL and how it operates. Because what we have found out is that the entity that did not want anyone else to see this 61-page document, maybe most desperately of all, happens to be the union.
Which is bull jive. This is your Willy Wonka golden ticket to fight the owners, and you don't want it out? Why?
That filed it in the first place.
This is your golden ticket. This is your get out of jail free, whatever it is. This is what you need, but you don't want to use it. Now we finna find out.
All this was happening, by the way. The same month, March of 2022, was J.C. Tretter.
He was the head of the NFL Players Association, like the player rep. And I don't know if it's on here, but I'll say this. He got cut. And you can't be the head of it if you're not on the roster. But he didn't let that stop him. Let's keep going.
And I remember you covering this, Mike, at the time, just me reading you, because this search process for the new executive director.
I forgot to tell you. So he got cut. And so since he was cut, he can't serve as the new whatever. So in this same time frame is around the time they ended D. Smith's reign as over the NFLPA. So Trotter's last job as the player rep is to help find the leader of the NFLPA. And so Trotter went to Cornell, and he got this Ivy League background, and he's supposed to be smarter than everybody else. And just look what this M&F did.
Was different.
It was in complete and total secrecy. We had.
So there was no, they didn't know the candidates until they walked in the room to vote. This mug changed the entire NFLPA constitution.
No idea who the candidates were. And there have been occasions where it's looked like the debate stage in the early portion of the primary season with that many candidates involved, and everyone knew who they were. And the stated reason for it was, we don't want the media to try to influence our players, assuming the players are even paying attention. We found out about Lloyd Howell after it was over.
So, JC, awesome. It's yours. First off.
So that is the guy they found right there, Lloyd Howell. One snake sitting beside another snake. And it's going to all come full circle in a second. We're going to get to Lamar. I'm sorry. You got to understand the whole thing to see how big they work to hold people down.
I want to congratulate Lloyd, our next executive director.
Lloyd Howell, the new executive director who they elected. The way they got Lloyd Howell, he actually explained it, J.C. Tretter did, in a post on the union website that we found that was literally titled, "Trust the Process."
If you don't get up out of here talking about some trust the process, after this, never mind.
And J.C. Tretter said, quote, "All members of our search committee signed confidentiality agreements and pledged not to discuss the search with anyone outside of executive sessions," end quote. And this was something, by the way, for people who were paying attention at the time, this was something that J.C. Tretter wound up expanding upon publicly, actually, in an interview after Lloyd Howell got elected with none other than ESPN host Pat McAfee.
So not only did he put this guy in place, he went on to expand on how the process went and what all they did to get him, and saying that certain members don't need to vet because they need to pick the president. It's up to us to vet them and all, and that's why we spent 9 million hours vetting and just some other yada 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 political. I mean, not political, but political type talk.
So this process has been really going on since March of 2022. We went out and hired a search firm, Russell Reynolds, who was wonderful to work with, but we wanted anybody who felt like they should be the next executive director to be able to apply to put their hat in the ring.
So Pat, hold on. Anybody could have signed up for this job? I could have signed, and not that I want it, but anybody could have signed up for this job? Pat had a great follow-up question. I think Pablo even said that.
Which led Pat McAfee to, I think, a pretty reasonable.
I think I got the follow-up question too, I think.
Director to be able to apply to put their
this is his reply to Pat's question saying that anybody could have applied.
Hat in the ring.
Which led Pat McAfee to, I think, a pretty reasonable follow-up question about the open casting call that J.C. Tretter had described, in which other candidates, other people were, of course, totally welcome to run.
I had not heard of it, and I'm not even talking about me in this particular case. There's probably other people that did not hear it as well. Maybe there were executives who had thought about it, or is that not the case? And I'm not saying I would want to run it. I'm just saying I feel like we're pretty dialed into the NFL, into everything going on with players, and we had no idea it was happening. But you guys are saying that the people that needed to know that it was happening did happen, and everybody was able to keep it tight. That's an incredibly impressive thing.
That Pat hit the nail on the head right there. Because Pat is locked into the NFL. People will call and tell him stuff, and he probably got sources on every team and all kind of stuff, you know. So Pat locked into the NFL. Former player, good with most people. It may be some people out there that dislike Pat, but I don't know about him. But for the most part, Pat's locked in. And for him or his crew and his staff not to know anything about it, red flag. But again, Mr. Cornell over here, smarter than everybody, so he thinks.
In 2023, JC.
Yeah, so one thing, yes, you very well could have applied.
Bullshit, he couldn't apply. You want to be the smartest man in the room.
Now, post JC Tretter's regime is quite different. It says that
Oh, this is where he changed the wording of the NFL Constitution about them seeing the candidates, because the previous one said they needed to know who the candidates were 30 days before the vote. The previous NFLPA Constitution said they need to know who the candidates is or are 30 days before they vote. Look at what he changed it to.
Now, post JC Tretter's regime is quite different. It says that the voters didn't need to know the names of the candidates they would be voting on until, quote, the start of the board meeting.
How do I not know who I'm voting for? I don't know Joe Sausage Head from Joe Krispy Kreme, and I got to vote on who's going to lead one of the most powerful entities in NFL or in sports, period. Come on, man. Come on, dog.
At which the term of the sitting executive director is set to expire, end quote.
No opportunity to do any research, no opportunity to vetting, no opportunity to caucus with individual members, to just get an understanding of who these people are. The entire process was engineered, and it makes it feel like it was engineered toward a specific handpicked candidate.
Boom. And there it is. The entire process was engineered toward a specific handpicked candidate. And trust me, we know this oh too well, and this is oh too soon for something like this to be coming back up. And if you know what I'm talking about. I know my wife knows, but if the rest of y'all know, you know. But let's talk about the handpicked candidate, so to speak. The handpicked candidate was the executive at, well, let me just let this play.
Started by telling the group that fixing the issue would mean losing money. But she says she was quickly cut off by the chief financial officer, who told her,
I appreciate all the work you've done on this. We are not going to make it a priority this year.
That must have just been devastating for you.
It was very devastating for me. I called my husband right afterwards and told him I was quitting my job.
All right, so just to give you a little backstory on that lady right there. She worked at the place that the new executive director was like the boss at. And according to her, they did a lot of government contracts. So they were losing money on contracts with other foreign countries. And so to circumvent losing that money with the other foreign countries, they charged the United States government more to make up for it. She went and told the people, like, hey, whatever. And you heard what they told her. So the thing is,
And the thing you should know here, Mike, according to an unsealed copy of Sarah Feinberg's civil complaint that we here at Pablo Torre Finds Out have obtained, is that the CFO who she referenced there, who caused Sarah Feinberg to quit her job in protest and officially register as a whistleblower with the U.S. government, just happened to be J.C. Tretter's excellent new ED, Lloyd Howell.
Bam. So this man is ahead of this company with all this fraud and and defrauding the United States government, and you have picked him to be your executive director of the NFLPA. And these people had to vote on this dude without even knowing who the freak he was. No 30 days to say, hey, who is this guy? What he done? He got a record, yada, yada, yada. Not even a $10 background check. You gave him no time. But now he's your executive director. Oh, but wait. It only gets better. It only gets better.
He couldn't be the president anymore. What Lloyd Howell did was create an executive level job.
Oh, so I got to, let you know what's going on. Because J.C. Tretter was no longer on a team, he couldn't be in position to have those roles in the NFLPA anymore. So, since J.C. Tretter helped this man get this job as the ED, check this out.
He couldn't be the president anymore. What Lloyd Howell did was create an executive level job that had never existed before in the history of this union. And the title was Chief Strategy Officer. And I don't know if people are ready for this reveal, but the person he gave it to, Mike, was J.C. Tretter.
Sound like a lot of, my back scratch. I can't reach my back scratcher, but a lot of back scratching going on over there. What's the proper term for this? Quid pro quo. I think that's what this is. I think that's the proper term. This is some real life drama going on, and you can't make this stuff up, man. You literally can't make this stuff up. Literally.
Details about what each of those three cases were like. And I want to start with Lamar Jackson here.
So now we get into the Lamar Jackson part of what was found in the document thingy. And I got the whole thing too. So I know I'm going to put it on my Patreon, but I got the whole thing too. If you want it, hit me on Twitter. I'll try to send it to you. But I got the whole thing, and it's long too.
Not just because he's the biggest name, the two-time MVP, but because we have this private text message. And now we're in the private text message zone when it comes to these stars. Because according to the document, Lamar Jackson had sent a text to Ravens general manager Eric DeCosta. Quote, I'm going to continue to request and this is in all caps, fully guaranteed contract. I understand you all don't, and that's fine.
This is a text from Lamar to EDC. I'm going to continue to request a fully guaranteed contract. I understand that y'all don't, and that's fine. Like basically saying that y'all don't do that, but I'm going to still request that because at the time, you think Deshaun Watson got fully guaranteed. At the time he got that contract, it was 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe 10 quarterbacks better than him. So if he got it, why shouldn't I get it? And, as Lamar, if he got it, why shouldn't I get it? I'm twice the player he is. Twice the player. But let's keep going. Oh, let me read what's at the bottom because I don't think he talked about this. After the 2022-2023 season, Mr. Jackson and Mr. DeCosta began to negotiate again, and Mr. Jackson renewed his request for a fully guaranteed contract. Mr. DeCosta offered Jackson 2 different 3-year contracts that Mr. DeCosta considered to be fully guaranteed. Yeah, I'm going to have to go back and get all the way into the transcript to see what this is talking about. It may warrant a second video because I didn't get the actual transcript until right before my video started. And so I may have to go back and look at that to go just specifically into the Lamar Jackson part of it. But let's keep rolling.
End quote. That was Lamar Jackson, who, again, by the way, his mom is his agent. He's kind of representing himself. His family is. This eventually led Lamar Jackson to refusing different contract offers from the Ravens and then requesting a trade, as NFL fans might recall.
And we all know we was heartbroken when he requested that trade, boy. We were like, oh, no, please, no, please, no, baby, please don't go. No, please. We would have had
emotional damage
if Lamar had left.
And then claiming, and this is one of my favorite details in this whole thing, amid these stalled negotiations, that, quote, the microphone on his phone was not working.
Okay, so up under that, it said DeCosta emailed Mr. Jackson. He said Mr. Jackson did not accept either of those contracts and requested a trade. So this is when Petty Lamar showed up. Y'all know Lamar, when you piss him off, he get real petty. It said during this time, Mr. Jackson said that the microphone on his phone was not working, making communications with Mr. DeCosta difficult. To assist Mr. Jackson, Mr. DaCosta asked him for the names of teams he might be interested in being traded to, but Jackson never provided such a list. The Ravens eventually franchised him using the non-exclusive franchise designation so that Jackson could negotiate a contract with other teams, and they had opportunity to match that.
Making communications with Mr. DaCosta difficult, end quote.
That is such...
That's Lamar saying, okay, we playing games, let's play them. That to me, that's what I get out of it. Lamar saying, you want to play games? Okay, let's play them.
Raises so many more questions. But what the arbitrator had found with the Lamar Jackson case was that, quote, only a couple teams expressed interest to the Ravens.
So only a couple teams wanted Lamar when they did that franchise tag on it. And keep in mind, anybody can offer him a contract. The Ravens just have the last option to match it.
Before they chose to non-exclusively franchise tag him, again, as NFL fans will recall. And that meant that the Ravens could still match any incoming offer Lamar Jackson received. But, quote, afterwards, no team reached out directly to Mr. Jackson.
So after he was franchise tagged, no team, not one single team, all these teams that need a quarterback, you're looking at a guy that's in the prime of his career, had won an MVP, was steadily getting better with every game, and not one swinging, reached out to him to say, hey, maybe let's see if we can get this, and maybe you come play for us. Come on, dog.
End quote. And Mike,
come on, dog. Not one team. Not one. Not one.
He has a playing style that doesn't fit with all teams.
He
gets injured.
Hold on.
Oh.
This is what Arthur Blank supposedly said about Lamar Jackson as to why they didn't offer a contract to him. This is what Arthur Blank supposedly said.
He has a playing style that doesn't fit with all teams. He gets injured a lot, which is what Arthur Blank, the owner of the Falcons, articulated. It creates a problem with your current quarterback if you decide you're going to go all in a pursuit of Lamar Jackson. It would be really expensive. You'd need to maybe do a fully guaranteed contract. That's another reason to not contact him. And he goes on to become the MVP. And I voted for him to be the MVP in 2024. And no one, once that franchise tag was applied, was interested. And it becomes circumstantial evidence that the message sent during the fire dog.
The secret meeting, that's what we refer to the fire dog meeting, the secret meeting.
Session in March of 2020 was applied, was interested. And it becomes circumstantial evidence that the message sent during the fire dog session in March of 2022 was being acted upon. And he has a playing style.
That's it. It's just playing in our face, exactly. He's playing in our face, collusion at best. It definitely ruined Derek Wolf's career. Definitely. We're gonna bring it home here in a second.
Surety in this position that he presumably hopes to keep.
And so a through line through this entire story, in the writing of player contracts and in the system of arbitration and in the operations of both the union and the league, is incentives. What is everyone incentivized to care about the most, and why? Which is all to say that, as you may recall, at least one NFL owner, Arthur Blank, owner of the Falcons, chose to keep a player named Desmond Ridder.
Desmond freaking Ridder was the Falcons quarterback at this time.
A quarterback who currently isn't even in the league, instead of calling Lamar Jackson's purportedly busted phone and making an MVP.
Hi, Coach Lamar is the most hated for no reason.
Definitely. Who said that? Heather. Thank you, Heather. Appreciate it. He is definitely the most hated for no reason. For no reason at all. Let me catch this last little bit.
MVP and offer.
Oh, yeah. So basically, he had Desmond Ridder as his quarterback, and chose not to reach out to Lamar Jackson and his team about, doing something.
It's a respect thing.
Appreciate the 10 as well, Heather. Thank you. Let's keep rolling. So that's the Falcons' issue with it, but it's a little bit more going on here. A little bit more.
And I'll be Cardinals owner Michael Bidwill.
So this now we're talking about Kyler Murray's contract. And this conversation is between the Cardinals owner and the Chargers owner. So I think the MB is the Cardinals owner, and the other initials are the Chargers owner. Check this out.
Well, if you please.
Congratulations on signing Murray.
Thanks, Dino. These QB deals are expensive, but we limited the fully guaranteed money and have some pretty good language. Thankfully, we have a QB that's worth.
And he talking about Kyler Murray as his QB that's worth paying. Keep in mind, the Chargers owner has Justin Herbert coming up soon.
Paying.
Your deal helps us for our quarterback next year.
I think many teams will be happy with it once they have a chance to review. Cleveland really screwed things up, but I was resolved to keep the guaranteed relatively, quote, low.
Relatively low. So the part that I didn't put in here was owners and GMs trying to put a bunch of incentives into people's contracts that they know they'll hit. So the guarantees won't be there, but they still got opportunity to hit these incentives and get that money. That's kind of where they trying to throw the curve at, instead of just straight up giving you the money that you deserve. Let me put these incentives in here and make the contract look low, but then if you hit these numbers, you can get them. That's what that is. And then, like I said, I got to go look back and look at the whole thing, because as you can see on this screen right here, well, at least I hope you can see it, there's something that says text and the number 3, Lamar Jackson. I don't know if that's what we already saw or whatnot, but again, I just got the whole transcript right before I started, and so I'll look at that later. But let's keep rolling.
Oh, unquote. And scene. Like, what a gift.
It's the collusion in action.
That's it. It's the collusion in action. It's everything that we said as fans that we couldn't really prove. We ain't dumb. We ain't dumb at all. We and Mr. Cornell that thinks he's the smartest person in the room, you are now exposed, buddy. Let's keep rolling.
J.C. Tretter.
Mr. Tretter testified.
Oh, this is why they don't want this to come out. Why the union don't want this to come out, and it got to do with J.C. Tretter, professional. I can't say what I'm gonna give y'all an inclination in a minute.
That he would not have criticized Mr. Wilson if he had known that owners had a collusive agreement to limit guaranteed compensation.
This is a footnote from something else in this document somewhere. It says Mr. Tretter testified that he would not have criticized Mr. Wilson, Russell, if he had known that owners had a collusive agreement to limit guaranteed compensation. Why would a former player who's over the players' union criticize Wilson?
And so, more detail. According to this document, this concealed arbitration ruling in a landmark NFL collusion case, it was discovered that J.C. Tretter, quote, exchanged texts expressing frustration with Mr. Wilson's non-fully guaranteed contract, end quote. That is what footnote 25 is tied to. J.C. Tretter's private critique of...
So he complained about Russell Wilson not getting guaranteed money. And you think, just from hearing this, he was fighting for Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson, who didn't get the fully guaranteed contract that the union wanted him to get.
Au contraire, mon frère.
Theory is at least partly contained in a separate document. The transcript of a text exchange from July 8th, 2024, which was filed as part of this whole legal proceeding.
Mm-hmm. And this is J.C. Tretter about to talk about Russell Wilson.
And what I can now report is that J.C. Tretter, in a series of text messages that he sent to then executive director of the union, DeMaurice Smith, repeatedly insulted Russell Wilson. At one point, he used an expletive that I will not say here.
So the expletive that he would not say has to be MFer or B. Has to be. To me, it got to be one of them two.
Here, J.C. Tretter also called Russell Wilson a quote-unquote wuss.
So he's called him an MFer or a B and a wuss. You represent Russell Wilson, and you talking about him like this.
And then he said of Wilson, quote, instead of being the guy that made guaranteed contracts the norm, he's the guy that ruined it for everyone.
If you don't get your... I hate jokers like this. You know who this dude remind me of? Rashad McCants, sorry, but like the stuff didn't work out for you. So now you here to cause hell for everybody else because you got your sorry ass cut. So now you want to make it bad for everybody else. If you represent me, why the heck are you talking about me behind closed doors? So yeah, it was all fun and dandy when you was, chopping it up with the owners and trying to do your thing and make sure you keep a job and put this guy in place so you can have a job and eventually be whatever. But now what's done in the dark comes to the light. Light shining bright on your... I shouldn't be upset about this, but you just don't know how many guys this probably done messed up. They say 600, but it's probably more than that. You messing with guys' livelihood.
End quote.
And the funny thing is, my livelihood ain't messed with it. And I'm mad about it.
Players. And the union official declined to comment.
All right, so obviously, I feel like I want to call J.C. Tretter a B for the way he acted. But also, now they're finna show you a dude that I respected. That I literally respected, a former Raven. He has some knowledge of this. And Pablo Torre is supposed to be his boy. And now he bowed out. So, J.C. Tretter, you a B? Foxworth, you a B too.
Another person, by the way, who declined to comment was my friend Dominique Foxworth, a former NFLPA president and true believer in the union who actually was a candidate for the executive director job that Lloyd Howell ultimately received.
So he was a candidate for the job that Tretter put his boy in.
But Dominique got eliminated midway through that confidential search process. And then, very annoyingly, he eliminated himself from my reporting process as well.
I'm interested to know why Pablo chose annoyingly in this instance. Why did Pablo say very annoyingly eliminate him from this process as well? That's what I'm interested in. That lets me know. Well, I ain't gonna say it lets me know. I'm gonna stick to what I called it. You are what you are.
And that's about it in terms of the comments, because the union really wouldn't say much more on the record other than its official telling us, quote, grievance rulings are typically not released, end quote, when we pressed about why this one.
So that's the whole story. And you see from the jump, we were not crazy. Those owners, those executives, once Deshaun Watson got that contract, they were like, this ain't happening no more. And then this stuff happened to take place in a moment of transition from the players union executive and the actual player rep as well. And so the actual player rep saw an opportunity to try to further his career, since his playing career was probably over because he got cut while he was the player rep. Mr. Cornell, Mr. Big Brain, got a scheme to put this dude in that nobody had a chance to vet, who was probably one of the biggest fraud people in the United States. So now he's the executive director of the Players Association. Now you got a guy that put him up there that wants that job. So it's a bunch of bull. So much bending rules, circumventing rules to further get their game. That's what I got for y'all today, man. And I'm going to leave y'all on this. And I can't say it out loud because I'm trying to be respectful. Foxworth, Y'all remember Foxworth and Tretter? Y'all remember the it's Kendrick Lamar song called Loyalty. And it's a part of it breaks down. He said user, and we're gonna leave it at that right there, because that's what those two guys are, and everybody else that tried to keep these guys from getting their money, man. I'll see y'all later. Peace.